in this session, we would like to provide some insights into the secrets management journey at Swiss Federal Railways, SBB. You might have heard that before. SBB is the abbreviation for the German word for Swiss Federal Railways. And with me today is Andreas Meister. He started this project and is still driving it to this day. And yes, please tell something about you, Andreas.
Yes, thank you, Simon. Also, a warm welcome from my side. My name is Andreas Meister. I'm the product owner of the application security team at SBB. I'm since 2007 in the software development business, first as a developer, then as an architect, and for the past 5 years in the application security field. What's about you, Simon?
My name is Simon Nussbaum. I'm a cloud-native engineer at Adfinis. I'm with Adfinis for 3.5 years, roughly. And since in that time, I was involved in a lot of Vault projects in different roles. Yes. As you might have already suspected, or as we already told, we are from Switzerland. Those who don't know, it's a very small country at the center of Europe, crossed by the Alps. You will find a lot of mountains, water, and then there is also a lot of green, which, of course, at least cows appreciate. And if you're lucky, you will also catch some indigenous people eating chocolate or cheese. And yeah, chocolate and cheese is what is something we are famous for and also passionate about, but also, for example, for watches, pharma, or one way or the other, finance. And in order to be able to do high quality or to produce high quality products, we also are, of course, interested and passionate about new technologies. And yeah, what else are we passionate about, Andreas?
Yeah, you might guess it. We love trains, especially those that arrive on time. So, a few words about the SBB. We, after the Corona crisis, we are already transporting more than 1 million passengers per day. But still, we are in the top 3 of the punctual train companies with 92%. But we are not only connecting Switzerland, but also Europe with the world's longest train tunnel. And we are doing this with 34,000 employees.
But I see the growth isn't going to stop. And as you know, Switzerland is a very small country and there is not much space for new rails. So how do you cope with that?
Yes, we're trying to cope not with hardware, but with software. I would like to show you this with our sales channels. We have 3.5 million active users per month on our mobile app, which makes it number 1 in the travel apps. Last year, we sold 121 million tickets over our digital channels. You can see how rapidly it increases on the lower left corner. Overall, we have 722 business applications, and to get more efficient, they are more interconnected, and interconnections in a zero trust environment needs identity for security, and these identities need credentials, and therefore we are dealing with credential management to manage these credentials properly.
Yeah, and as I understood, the journey started in 2019. So what happened since then?
Yes, it's already quite a while since I've recently dug in my email box and found the first request from the operational security asking about credential management. And at this time, nobody really wanted to take the hot potato. 2 years later, I knew why, because it was quite a rough start. We had a lot of discussions in the company. We evaluated together with Adfinis different types of architecture, how we could build up the Vault platform. Yeah, and then finally in 2021, we did market research, evaluated different products, and yeah, finally took the decision to use Vault as a credential management tool. And from then on, it went quite fast because already 6 months later, we had a productive, up and running Vault platform where we could onboard customers. So today, we have quite a high degree in automation in ordering access to the Vault platform through our self-service portal. We have now about 14% of adoption of the business applications we are running. We have solved the secret zero problem by integration of our OpenShift platform. And we have different integrations of Vault, for example, into databases or AWS. So, through our journey, we had some challenges. I would like to mention here the 3 most challenging topics. The first one is that we have now onboarded the early adapters, those teams who are aware about security and using now Vault, but we still have some teams that are developing and operating critical systems, don't use Vault yet. And this is, of course, because there is a lack of information security awareness and the awareness that credentials are a critical asset. Another challenge was that credential management isn't an easy topic. You have to explain why credential management is a good thing, why you need such a tool to manage your credentials, and therefore you have to explain what it is and how to use a credential management tool.
I see that's a bunch of challenges you're facing. So I find it quite difficult to find a program that addresses those challenges, but also adds some kind of prioritization to it. Can you please elaborate a bit your strategy there?
Yeah, also we had some headaches how we can address these challenges. And we have focused on 3 topics on our rollout strategy. So the first one is training awareness. So we are doing training in different occasions. For example, we are using already existing learning platforms like internal developer conference where we are speaking, or we are talking to different communities, especially to the security champion community. But we are also using different syncs. I don't know if you're also implementing SAFE. There are lots of syncs there, and there we go and talk about credential management, so people get to know about Vault. As I already mentioned, we already started really early to onboard customers, so now this kind of pays out because these early adapters now can tell success stories, how it is to use Vault, what experience they made to motivate others to use Vault as well.
So now we fetched the early adopters. What do we do now? How do we not prevent that this stops now?
Yes, if you have a look at the technology adoption life cycle, we have now the early adapters, now it comes the early majority, and we have tweaked our strategy a bit in that sense that we are now using a stick and carrot method. So the stick is newly deployed secret scanning tool where we find the secrets in our source code, in the configuration, or in the Docker history. And from then on, we are addressing first the critical systems with the most findings. This is kind of a risk-driven approach. Then we are moving on to the less critical systems with still many findings. And on this process, it is important to counter-check if the teams are really revoking the secrets, because it's very hard to find every leakage of a secret. It's much better to change it and use new credentials. And this, of course, is an iterative process, which maybe never will take an end. But also we are implementing checkpoints, so no new passwords may leak into the source code, for example, in the pipeline, to stop the pipeline if we find secrets, or just preventing pull requests that contain secrets. So now I have talked about the stick. What's about the carrot, Simon?
Yeah, in the next couple of slides, I would like to explain a bit the carrot, or better said, the Vault service offering at SBB. We try in the whole service offering, we tried to bring together the strategy that Andreas explained, and the company culture, and also the best practices for service delivery. So that brought us to a couple of principles we are following also when we built the platform, but also now when we integrate new solutions. So from a user perspective is the first slide. So we try to be generic as possible, so that all the new integrations or additions to the service offering follow some generic concept, of course, and then so that engines, authentication methods, other integrations can always be used in a similar fashion. Then another thing is also that we recommend, or that what we follow, we are following, is to shape the scope of what we actually are offering, which engines are we offering, which authentication methods, so that we really have a clearly scoped environment, what we are really offering, and that it serves the majority of the people. So, and then we have the adoption, so that adoption is as easy as possible, so the service should be provided as straightforward as possible, so that instructions, HashiCorp Vault, Vault's guides and tutorials can be used for trainings, and also that the start is as easy as possible, so you put as little hurdles to get started with for the customers as possible. And the last principle we have is the developer first kind of mantra. Was also part already in the first two principles, but we really focus on who is actually using it. Then we listen to the feedback, to new features to improve the service further, but also provide interfaces where they can place their new wishes for new features. But as soon as we start to implement such kind of, or such a feature, then we also demand commitment from them. And there is a high chance of success if they participate in the process, the adopters and users and developers. Yeah. And then from an operator perspective, we have also a couple of principles. So the service delivery, stable and efficient service delivery, we heard that already before. Also in this case, we have everything as code. So from platform deployment till Vault configuration, everything is in Git. And we also enable other service operators to do maybe some tighter integrations into Vault. So for instance, the OpenShift team, as Andreas already said, they are registering new clusters for authentication directly via pull request. And if you have different players also in play, then it's very important to have a crystal clear responsibility matrix so that there is as little as possible doubt who is responsible for what, of course, obvious. And then the other principle was pace turned out to be something quite evident. At the beginning, we wanted to rush as much features as possible, but then we learned if you want to provide it as a service, it's better to start small, do it step by step, so that the people who should use it, or the adopters that should use it, can learn about Vault, can build up know-how. You have also time to adjust prioritization, which feature you want to enable first. But also in our case, the operators, they don't just operate the platform, they also provide support. So also for them, it's good to build up know-how. Yes, and the last one, reliability, we just put it here because it's always a topic. So we just follow like the best practices. We have nodes across different availability zones. We have disaster recovery cluster in a different cloud. We deploy everything according to HashiCorp's best practices. We also, what we recommend is also to use the production hardening guides. That turned out to be very, very good for a high level of reliability. Yes. And yeah, all these principles brought us to the self-service portal. The self-service portal is something that exists at SBB. The service providers that are developing services, they can order some environment services through this self-service portal. So to us, it was clear we also will integrate into this. And you can see here basically the starting point. The starting point is you can create a space that's a dedicated area in Vault where you can, when you start, you have just a static secrets engine, and from then on, you can add additional integrations. You just have to provide some application information, of course, some accounting information, and who can manage secrets in there and who can read, and then the rest you can order afterwards. Yeah, I mean, the benefits are quite obvious. It's one entry point if you want to get started with Vault or manage your space, add features, remove features, change features. It's everything in the self-service part. You can advance. Yeah, we have here the full, you can manage your orderings here, and as soon as you hit order, pipeline runs, and then within seconds it's there. And also from the operator perspective, it's quite obvious. You have the interaction. There is no interaction with the custom needed, no manual action. Everything is as code. So we basically the self-service portal is how do you say? Merge is sending a merge request to Git, and then it's actually going from Git. So all the orderings are just there in code and traceable, and this leaves resources for the operators to do non-routine work, such as some support or development of new features. And just quickly go through, I just wanted to show you the user experience, maybe in a quite high level style. We have here the part you saw. The first part, the developer is logging in to the self-service portal with his Azure credentials. He's ordering his space. and then the pipeline runs, Vault gets configured. From that moment on, he can log in to Vault, and from that moment on, also all interaction with Vault goes directly with Vault. So the self-service portal is just to make sure that we have the whole thing governed, and the user has also some guidance how to use it, and it's just really management, and then everything else is going directly with Vault. So currently the developer has we have enabled a couple of features that you can see on the on the right-hand side from your so we have JOT authentication. You might know it like the Kubernetes auth. Then we have the secret synchronization. That's you can synchronize some Vault secrets to the secret store of OpenShift. That's quite similar to the Vault secrets operator released recently. And then we have app roles, AWS integration, databases for dynamic secrets. And in my last slide, I would just like quickly to show you a bit of some numbers. That's actually the client usage. Last time we were here, it was in July when we released the self-service portal, there was the HashiConf. And before that, you can see we have just some usage for admins and earliest adopters. Then 2 months later, the Dev Day came on. That's a workshop for developers within SBB. That's recurring yearly, I guess. And then, yes, and then you see the peak. And then the OpenShift secret synchronization starts. That's where it's starting to take off. And then we have recently the JOT authentication that we enabled. And if I'm looking at the numbers for May, it's already above 200 for both clusters. So it's really going. Yeah. And as I said, that's my last slide. So what did we learn from that?
Yeah, well, we learned a lot on our journey. I would like to pick out 3 of them. So the first one is the training and awareness, once again. So really explain what Vault is, why it is useful, why it is increasing the security. And yeah, these training sessions are kind of the promotion for this tool and platform. Collecting feedback, as you said, Simon, listen to the developers because they have to do the integration, maybe adapt your roadmap, deliver an integration before the other, but then also really demand the commitment that they are using what they have been asking for. And the whole DevOps approach, here we also understand that you use Vault as well. For example, we as the AppSec team are using Vault for our scanners, so they can identify to the systems where they are scanning. And yeah, really listen to the customer, as I already said. On our journey, of course, also some things didn't work out that well. For example, I had the great idea to build up a Vault community where the different customers can exchange experiences and collaborate. Yeah, it just didn't happen. We had also so-called open door sessions where the customers could come and ask questions or request features, but yeah, it was quite lonely. So we stopped doing this. I'm a quite impassioned person, so I thought, yeah, well, bring the platform up and running, and then all the developers are coming and using Vault, but that didn't happen. It takes a while till you get momentum, and the community starts to talk about Vault, and then we have seen the numbers, it really increases. It also needs some basic integration because otherwise it's kind of meaningless to use Vault. So yeah, be patient if you start with Vault. To wrap it up, I would like to give you some topics away. So, this developer-centric approach worked very well for us, but don't forget the management. The developers has to do the integration, of course, but the management has to give the okay, so talk to them as well. And once again, this promotion and training aspect, also plan resources for it, even thought we are sticking to the standards and can use a lot of material of HashiCorp. You still need to prepare the sessions, and so you can provide a high quality of the training sessions. And another thing that worked out quite well is this easy approach. For example, this sync job, which syncs the secrets out of Vault into the OpenShift platform. That might not be optimal in a point of security, but it's a starting point. And from then on, the teams can integrate more closely to Vault, maybe use then dynamic secrets, and works out quite well to start slow and then move on.
Okay,
that's it.
Yeah, that's everything we have. Thank you so much for attending this session. We hope we could give you an idea for your ongoing Vault projects or future Vault projects. If there are further questions or need for discussion, we are here. Yes, just find us, don't hesitate, and enjoy the rest of the HashiDays.
Yes, thank you very much.
Cool, thank you very much. So, first of all, are there any questions from the audience? There's one.
Are your customers on Git or GitHub for your application that you want to watch or GitHub?
We are hosting our Git repo on your own. We are using Bitbucket.
Okay. And the other question is, what did you use to scan the repositories, to scan your applications for secrets?
Are we allowed to say that? I guess so.
What do you mean exactly?
Yeah, it's a product called Git Guardian. Git Guardian.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Yeah, an additional question. How long does it usually take for a business application to be integrated into Vault? What is an average that you could give as kind of a best practice experience?
Yeah, it depends on the integration. So this sync job just goes right away. So if the application already uses the secret store of OpenShift, then you just have to migrate the secrets out from there into Vault, and then they're coming back. If you need the dynamic secrets, this will take a bit more time, because then you have development to do, which you don't have if you just use the sync job.
Good. I think then we'll continue. So thank you again, Simon, Andreas. You can stay here.
Yes.
I will.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.